Welcome to Crush It, Kelly. My name is Kelly. I want to apologize for my setting. I'm still working on it, but I really wanted to get this video to you and up as sort of the beginning of my journey here. As I said, my name is Kelly. I have been on YouTube for a while. I took a break. I used to do more makeup-based videos. But in the last year, exactly, I've lost about 75 pounds. And I am on my journey to lose over 200 pounds. Not by a particular goal date, but that is where I am heading. So I wanted to create this channel because I wanted a space to discuss what was going on in my life in regards to weight loss, update people, talk about things that have worked for me or things that have not worked for me, address any particular areas of health and fitness, and maybe that branches out to something else in the future. But right now, this is the world that I live in. So I want to talk about a few things today as an introduction to me and an introduction to what you can kind of expect in the channel. So any comments or questions, please put them in the box below and I'll be sure to address them. If you are interested at all, you can always follow me on Instagram where I document my journey, and my username is Crush It Kelly. So I'll put that up in the info bar somewhere. So I want to address 5 different areas that will be helpful in discussion today. So one is what I did, why I did it, because your why is very important, nutrition, exercise, and mental health. And as all encompassing my journey up to this point, what I did. So this is a bit of a lengthy story. I'll try to sum up quickly, and maybe I can do another video on it in the future. But I have suffered with weight issues almost my entire life. When I was born in 1985, and I suffered from severe, I don't want to say malnourishment, but I was very underweight. I was just over 2 pounds. And because of that, my parents had to do a lot of work to get me up to the weight that I needed to be at. And so by the time I hit mid-elementary school, I had, gone from being extremely thin, malnourished kid to, a pretty pudgy child. I had darker hair than everybody, I had darker skin than everybody, and I really did not do well in school socially. And so I turned to food for comfort, just like a lot of people who have weight issues do. And so by the time I graduated from high school, I was well over 200 pounds, and, very unhappy about it. And then that problem, this disordered eating pattern, really took me into high school. And when I was in high school, I yo-yo dieted a lot with my mom. I did all sorts of different fads. But by the time I graduated high school, like I said, I was 200 pounds. And by the time I graduated college, where nobody was telling me what to eat, I had ballooned to well over 300 pounds. And I was not happy about it. I was not that anyone's ever happy being that heavy, but it wasn't, I didn't get big out of, enjoying lots of delicious food. I just ate whatever I wanted and didn't really care about the consequences. But when I graduated and started my first professional job, I had to kind of come to grips with some issues in my personal life. I was diagnosed with anxiety in 2014, and anxiety is obviously a common condition, but I was not coping with it very well. I was living by myself in a state that wasn't anywhere near my family, and I had to start taking care of my mental health. And so I started doing that, and as a result, any yo-yo dieting that I had done before, I was starting to go in the opposite direction. I was eating tons of calories to deal with the fact that I had been feeling all this anxiety, and I wasn't in a good, healthy place. But last year, the summer of 2017, I had had enough. I had hit, I guess, a proverbial rock bottom. And it wasn't what I ever expected it to be. I had, at this point, like a lot of people, I avoided spending time with friends. Anything that required us to be outdoors, to be moving around, where I knew I was gonna huff and puff and moan and groan and be miserable, I would avoid. And on this particular event, I was in Washington, D.C. with a friend, and I couldn't keep up. And I was just plain exhausted. And I thought to myself, you're 31, 32 years old, and you can't basically walk down a flat street. And that this was no way to live. And prior to this, it's not like I never thought about it before, but it started to really hit home, and my resolve was different. And I will do a separate video on mentality and motivation, because this is a much bigger question to address. But when I got home from that trip, I made some significant changes in my lifestyle, and was able to start the process of losing the weight. And I am about 20% of the way through at this point. But it's significantly better than I've ever done, and I'm heading in the right direction. So how I did it, steps I took. So when I came home, like I said, after that trip, and had decided that I just had enough. I had had enough, and I needed to make some changes. I did a lot of things that I had done before, but my attitude towards those things was different. Instead of coming from a place of, I hate you, myself, you hate yourself, you've got to change or else you're gonna die, things like that, I came at it from let's treat this as an experiment, let's see how we can better nourish our bodies and minds and selves, and those things were in my forefront. And I decided to keep it relatively simple. So what I did, I knew I needed to do, I made the decision to do two things. Exercise, not more, exercise, just exercise. So move more and eat better, not less, but better, okay? So for movement, 5 to 6 times a week, I would go down to my basement and I would walk for 20, 30 minutes, however long I could walk on the joints that I had, or have, I haven't lost my joints, but that was what I could withstand at that weight. I was 397 pounds when I started. And so I did what I could do physically. And then I focused, I knew I was gonna have to balance this out and focus on nutrition, which is the harder of the two for me. Nutritionally, I made some decisions I wasn't going to eat out. I cooked at my house almost exclusively, and I focused on eating whole, real foods, so staying away from junk food, staying away from fast food. And I didn't really restrict myself in a particular amount of calories, I just focused on eating better foods. And from years and years of being heavy and being put through diet classes and yo-yo diets, I knew what healthy looked like. I just wasn't doing it. And so I focused on that. Now, those things coupled together contributed to fast weight loss, fast weight loss in the beginning, and helped catapult me in the right direction. Then, as time progressed, I started getting more serious, more focused on how I could really make my exercise more challenging, how I could really look at what I was putting in my body, and I will spend more time on separate videos talking about my fitness routine and talking about my nutrition, because those kind of deserve longer videos. But I focused on moving more and eating better. In terms of nutrition, I don't follow any particular style other than more of a macros-based approach, and eating whole, real foods. I will occasionally indulge. I usually try to pick one day a week where it's not a free-for-all day, but it's a day where I'm not as strict on my intake. But nutrition has been and is the single most important thing in the factor that contributes most to my weight loss. When I gain weight or I don't do as well, it's almost always I can attribute it to just eating too much or eating the wrong things. So nutrition is incredibly important, and like I said, I'll talk more about that in the future. Exercise, I don't have a gym membership. I used to have a gym membership and didn't go. I made a commitment to myself that I was going to move more. And so I did what I needed to do to move more. I said that I was not going to buy any gym equipment. I was not going to buy any memberships to any fitness studios or clubs until I could prove to myself that I would stay the course, that I would do what I needed to do to get healthy. And as time progressed and I became more and more consistent with it, I started incorporating things like I got a couple of free weights, I got some exercise bands, I got a kettlebell, I got, little things here and there. I got, an exercise mat and some things to help. I got one of those stability balls and things like that. And it grew over time. And the more I did it, the more I would see something like, oh, I really need that because that's part of my routine now. And I would incorporate things, but I never bought a gym membership. Even if I want to just kind of throw in the towel and purchase one, I set up my own home gym, and it is pretty close to perfect for me right now. And I can do a tour of that, in another video, but I exclusively work out at home. And I focus on 45 minutes to an hour of high intensity interval-based training. And obviously it's not super high intense because traditional high intensity interval training is usually very short workouts with maximum effort. And like I said, I'll go into more in a separate video what I'm doing specifically. It has changed multiple times throughout the year just because I get bored and I want to try something different, or I do a program and I finish it and then I move on. But I do a lot of cardio and strength training, and I always spend one day a week just working on mobility and stretching because that's really, really important. And occasionally I will bring in some meditation, and that will bring me on to my next topic, my last topic, which is mental health. This is an area of health that I think is drastically overlooked, but it was something that was really important to me when I started. Like I said, I suffer from anxiety, and it used to be very, very intense, and I've coped with it pretty well throughout the years. But I knew that if I was going to have any lasting physical health, I was going to have to address how I was handling my anxiety. Food is a big trigger for my anxiety, or my anxiety is a big trigger for my food issues. And so I started talking to somebody about it, getting help with my anxiety, and really journaling and reflecting on my experiences and how I could take habits that I had built up as coping mechanisms over years and years and make a healthier habit. And a lot of that was, done through being more mindful, consistently setting goals and setting a particular practice, doing guided meditation. None of these things are suggestions. They're just what worked for me. And that goes with anything that I mention in regards to losing weight, nutrition, exercise, mental health. You need to consult a doctor, and you need to not take anybody's word, especially mine, as gospel. Do your research and determine what's going to work for you. Consistent progress towards a goal will always reap results, but consistency and progress are key. Extreme diets, extreme weight loss programs work. They do work, but they're not sustainable. They are not meant to be sustainable. They're meant to give you a quick result for a specific amount of time. And then as soon as you stop those things, you stop having that weight loss. Lastly, I want to talk about what you can expect to see in this channel, and who this channel is for. So who this channel is for, if you're interested in health and fitness at all, I highly recommend that you subscribe, join me, engage with me, support me. I can help support you. If you are here to get a quick fix, if you are here to learn how to lose X, Y, and Z by A, B, and C date, you're not going to see that here. So you might as well there are a billion other fitness channels on YouTube which can help you with that. I'm here to talk about real, sustainable, healthy ways to lose weight. And to get healthy just in general, not necessarily lose weight, but to be a healthier person. But I will be back next week with a new video. So in the meantime, I will be working to create some content for you guys, and working on my own particular goals. And I just want everyone to remember, if you know me, or if I'm the first person or the first video that you clicked on today and you have no idea who I am, my name is Kelly. I'm from Crush It Kelly, and we are working to progress, not to be perfect. Progress, but not perfection. I'll see you next week. Bye.